Hi love, hello and welcome to Co-Creative Healing Journey. My name is Greta, I am a healer, and my love, this channel has now become an ongoing healing process where all of the videos are part of an ongoing dynamic that is intended to help you co-create lots of healing for yourself with spirit. There are different kinds of offerings, and if you're interested in knowing more, you can check out the main page or the description box. Here and now, though, we have the very first pick a card in a long series because this healing process is going to be ongoing for years. And the very first reading is about you. It's about the energy being that you are. Now, we are talking energy all of 2024. We are going to be talking energy in January and in the first week, as you can see. So that's where we're going to start. Who are you as an energy being? Who are you really? And we are putting it in that way and leaving it quite open and quite broad so that spirit can bring in lots of different perspectives, lots of ideas and advice and imagery and healing, of course, because lots of us do have a lot of wounds around our energetic being and our spiritual nature. So that being said, we are going to start because we have here three options. We've got the Archangel, we've got the Colorful Angel, and we have got the Mini Angel. Timestamps are in the description box, and I'll see you for your reading in just a little bit. Hi love, hello and welcome to those of you who have chosen this Archangel. I call it Archangel because it's a bigger angel statue. And so when we are looking at who you are energetically, you are big. You are a big energetic being. And so let me run through the cards and I will of course give you your message. So here we have got the equivalent of Major Arcana number 9, the Hermit. We have reflection with illusion, self-examination, distortion. We have catch your breath. Yeah, feeling some of that right now. We've got birthing. We have Major Arcana number 13, the Death card. We have got Major Arcana number 5, the Hermit, the Hierophant, sorry, and they're both of them upside down. We have a 7 of Wands. We have a 10 of Pentacles with fruition. We have got a Queen of Wands, regeneration, Mother, upside down, and then we have got an Ace of Pentacles upside down. So we have the Archangel to let us know that in general you are energetically big. You would be something that would be called a powerhouse. And at the core of it, the energy that you have, that you hold, that you embody is the kind of energy that is intended to be very bright and then to descend into lower dimensions in order to shine that light. So in some ways you would be like a reservoir of energy, of beautiful, loving, healing, positive, beautiful, intrinsic, truthful, intelligent, honest kind of energy, right? Because it expresses in all kinds of different ways. But at the core of it, it would be love force, love energy. That would be who and what you are. And so that divine being, your divinity at the core, is intended to descend into earthly reality, into density. And especially those of you watching this, you will have been drawn to difficult situations, circumstances. There is a lot of trauma connected to this card that I'm picking up on. Very dark experiences, dark moments, dark relationships, encounters, things that really you will have gone through and that would in some way, shape, or form define who you are if you weren't so big. And there are a lot of people who have gone through the experiences that you have gone through, that have had the kind of life that you've led, and they are not able to uphold their light. But you, in your nature, in who you are as an energetic being, you are intended to hold that light and really also bring it into the situations, into the circumstances that you are encountering. Now with Catch Your Breath, there's a whole process to this. And Catch Your Breath is a card that talks about when we have been swept off our feet, thrown off our balance, and needing some time to readjust and to readapt. So for some of you may be watching this and going, what on earth is she talking about? That is not me. I'm still in the darkness of these experiences, or it still affects my sense of self, those kinds of things. Well, Catch Your Breath is talking about how you are intended to be off balance for a certain amount of time. And we'll talk about why, I think. But you're intended to be off balance for a certain amount of time, and then you're intended to rebalance. So it's a process also with the birthing here. You're intended to go through this process of birthing your light into the dark situations, into the dark circumstances, into, let's also just say, the ambient darkness that is unfolding on planet Earth at this time. You are intended and have been intended throughout your entire life to go through the process of bringing your light into those spaces, into that situation, and into those circumstances. With this 10 of Pentacles, there's a promise here that Spirit is giving you. And I feel like this is a promise that will have been etched into your soul, into the very fabric of who you are, which is that you're going to make it. You are going to bring this into fruition. And when you see this as a 10 of Pentacles, where you see this woman and her body and the fruits that she's carrying, it's saying that she is the fruition. She is the wealth. She is the success. She is the legacy. She is all of those wonderful energies of the 10 of Pentacles. And Spirit is saying the same thing for you. Your greatest triumph in this life will be to birth yourself as this being of light into your body, into your earthly form. And for some of you, there's trauma linked to the body. So it's literally like you're bringing your light into your body, pushing out the trauma out of your DNA, out of your cells, out of your bones, out of your flesh, just pushing it out, and only light will remain. And that will be your sense of self with the 10 of Pentacles energy long term for the rest of your life. And even it could be something that you pass on to your children, that they will pass on to their children, a way of being in the world, a way of being one's own fruition that will endure throughout the ages. Spirit is saying that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And again, that's who you are. That's the energy of who you really are. Now, to do all this, with this 9 of Pentacles, there's a journey to go on. And this is very much an inner journey. So you are someone who would be on this path and have continually experiences of situations, circumstances, again, challenges, darkness, things like that. Even in trying to heal it, just coming across a lot of stuff where you're just like, why is this happening in this way? Why are people acting in this way? Why? This doesn't make sense. Well, it's because you're continually intended to seek yourself and find yourself in the situation or circumstance. So someone comes up to you, says something really nasty, you are intended to have that experience so that you can extract from that experience, wait, that has nothing to do with me. That's their stuff. That's their crap. That could even be their trauma, things that they're carrying around. I am not that. I am this light. And so for a while, you might be swept off your feet. You might be out of equilibrium with what you've experienced, but you always rebalance. You are intended to, and you can also learn to, and you will learn to. You may already know how to. Some of you are already sitting there on top and going like, yeah, this has been my path and I made it. And if you did, please leave a comment. I am sure that people who aren't there yet would love to hear it. And so I would love to hear it, absolutely. And so you are intended to go through that, to always rebalance in yourself, to always seek that higher reason, that higher energy, that higher spiritual vibe really within you, and to realize it. So you really are that kind of person, or at least your energy is, and you're intended to embody that, to have this energy that always has the wise answer, the wise perspective, that higher perspective, doesn't give in to illusions, distortions. Everyone else is looking around and they think it's the end of the world, but you can see the light at play, and you can know, no. Any day now, this night is going to break. It's going to end. The light will come. Whether it is from me, from my own illumination, from my own creativity, or if it's going to come from the world, if it's going to come from spirit. But I know that it's spirit, and you can always feel that birthing it. It's like a perspective on life that everything is in flux, everything is in motion, but it is in motion, a manifestation that is impending, that is going to blow our minds, that's going to be amazing, that there's a continual movement towards greater manifestation of the light in the world. You know this innately, intuitively, you feel this in your body, you see it at play in the world, but it also is literally who you are. So what you're seeing, what you're sensing is you. And sometimes it has to come from you. You're going to be the source of the resolution. You're going to be the source of the healing. In co-creation with spirit, of course, always. But Sometimes it's also just going to come out outside of you and you are aware of this. Now, this is not by any means an easy path, as we see with the Death card and the Hierophant, and they both deliver a message. And the Death card upside down, for me, when it comes upside down, it's a message of implosion, pulling energy back, so that there is a continual dynamic here. And if you can see this card, this would be a deity giving fire to man. So that would be one of those creation stories about how man gained access to fire. And we have here this process of going into the darkness, pulling energy back from, again, what people say, how they act, from the dark situations that you go through, and allowing a little bit of yourself to die off in that situation. So then you're renewed, and it's like your spiritual energy gives your human self that spiritual energy to take on, to enact your healing and rebirth yourself. So let me explain that a little bit more clearly. It has to do with how the trauma and the darkness and the difficult things you have experienced, they are not of you, they are not about you, they don't really say anything about you. But for a while, that's what you will have had, what you will have known. So it's kind of like you would have substituted a real sense of reality for what I call pain myths, which I believe we will talk about here on the channel at some point. But the myths about how it makes sense to be in pain over something. Childbirth should be painful. If you want to succeed, you gotta suffer for it, right? Blood, sweat, and tears, like those kinds of things. They're pain myths. They're not true, and especially not in a spiritual sense. And so you have this sense of self that is distorted, that is small, that is limited, that you have to pull energy back from. And it's a very difficult process because it's really scary. It's what you know. It's who you think you are. It's how you think the world actually functions. But every time you're able to pull energy back from those lies, those distortions, those illusions about who you are, but also about what you're capable of, what you can have in life, how the world really works, then on the other side of it with this Hierophant, there's going to be a spiritual lesson and also spiritual power that is granted to you. You substitute, I'm not small, I'm not broken, I'm archangelic energy, excuse me. I am strong, I am big, I am powerful. And from that knowing of yourself, that sense of self, there will be spiritual power attached to it that you can then turn around Seven of Wands and make use of in the world. Seven of Wands is courage. It's valiance. It's following your heart and moving forward with your intentions, your energy. It's a card of integrity also. And here, it's this card about how you see how she's lighting just a pinky, a little bit of her pinky, and again the notion that you're embodying this fire, this spiritual energy. So she's lighting just a little bit of the pinky, and then there's something trying to bite that off. So there's this message that as much as you need to go through this process, and that's where we're coming to the why, because when you show up in this world embodying so much light, there are going to be tons of people, of places, things, systems that are going to want that light. They're going to want to co-opt it. Your creative power, your creativity at a basic level, your generosity, your wealth, the fruition of you, they are going to want to co-opt it for their own purposes. For some of you, it literally, again, is that notion of the body, wanting to take ownership of your body, wanting to use it for their own purposes. I'm feeling also in the sense of you, maybe being in a culture or a family ancestry where it's like, well, you have to marry this kind of person and you have to carry on the bloodline and you have to do this and you have to do that so that you become just one more cog in the machine of the ancestry rather than an individual with your own path and your own dreams and especially your own destiny, your own light to shine in this world. And so it's very important. It was very, very important that you had to learn this process so that you could basically safeguard your light when you came into its fullness. You have to be able to hold your light so that others don't co-opt it for their own purposes, because that will be incredibly damaging to you, but also to them. Karma goes both ways. And really also to the greater world, because you're super powerful. You're super powerful, and you're here to use your light in ways that serve the whole, not to serve narrow agendas that probably would not be in alignment with the highest good of all. So this method and this path that you've been on protects everybody. So finally we have this Queen of Wands. That's you. That's you. And Spirit is saying it came upside down because you're always going to be growing into more of your power. You're always going to be on this path. And again, the notion of the body, really grounding this energy into your body. Many of you may be familiar with things like ascension symptoms and an ascension path and have that kind of experience. It would definitely be this, and this would be something that's going on for your whole life, but not in a sense where it's a burden or it's difficult, because you're going to come into mastery because that's who you are. But it's much more a notion that you're always going to be growing into more of a spiritual body, grounding it more and more and more into your body. You're always, at age 80 you will be even more spiritually powerful and embodied than at age 70, than at age 60, and so on and so forth. It's a natural trajectory of your life, and they're always going to follow. You're always going to grow, evolve, and you're always going to bring it into fruition. You're always going to ground and manifest it, because my love, that's who you are. That's who you are. So happy to share this message with you. So that was your message, and I do have a takeaway for you here that I laid to the side at the beginning, and it says magic and ritual. Effect in the external world can be created through inner practice. Heart-centered ritual can support your inner path in the physical world. You're encouraged to enhance your power with regular practice as you grow in grace, love, ability, and wisdom, applying your inner beauty to transform your outer world. And I honestly feel like it's to transform the world. This is not a small process that's just about you. You're going to do beautiful, great, amazing things in your life over and over and over again. As you reach new levels of light over and over and over again, you will manifest that in the world. And so Spirit is saying, remember always, there's this inner process, and then there is the inevitable outer manifestation, the inevitable fruition. And in both of these cards, look at all of that green energy. The power of your heart. And there's even a heart there. There you go. The power of your heart. Who are you really? You are someone who manifests their spiritual light and love in this world in a very heart-centered and heart-driven way. And so, my love, that was your reading. I hope that it served you. Sending you lots of love, wishing all the best. And if you are interested in knowing more about the process, check out the description box. Check out the main page. It is all there. Lots of love, wishing you all the best. And I'll be seeing you around. Bye. Hi, love. Hello, and welcome to those of you who chose the second option with this colorful angel that I absolutely love so much, so much. I bought it years and years and years ago. And there's this notion here about things that are of value, things that you care about, things that you hold dear. And so we're going to break through it. We're going to break it down, rather. Break through it. Ooh, nice. Okay, so that's also going to be part of the reading. But let me show you the cards before I get even more ahead of myself. We have Five of Swords with Win or Lose. We have got Healing, Reconnecting with Your Nature with Master number 33. We've got You Are Worth It. We have Take Flight. Major Arcana number 16, The Tower. Two of Swords. We have Major Arcana number 8, Justice. We have got Major Arcana number 4, Lilith. We have an 8 of Swords. And we have Major Arcana number 17, The Star, upside down. So a lot of Major Arcana energy, which is again... it reminds me of the song. I don't even remember which song it is, but it's like a rap lyric where they say, the bread getters, the real fly, unforgettable type players, the heavy hitters. There you go. The heavy hitters, the bread getters, the really fly, unforgettable type players. That's you. You're the heavy hitters, and you're heavy hitters in a very, very specific kind of way. With healing, you are healers. And with Master number 33, you are not just any kind of healer. At a soul level, you are initiated to perform healing. There are tons of people in this world who work at healing energy, because everybody can, but it doesn't mean everybody is initiated to, and it doesn't mean, therefore, that everybody benefits from working healing energy on themselves. Well, yourself, it's okay, but mostly other people, because there's so much more at stake, so many more dynamics. But you guys are, again, the real deal. You're the heavy hitters. You're the true healers. With 33, you have been through soul cycles of initiation as healers. And to me, a healer is someone whose energy naturally guides people, places, things, situations, organizations, experiences towards greater wholeness. So your energy is continually feeding into this greater wholeness in you, but also in relationships, in the world, in different aspects. With the colorful here, I feel like you would be a very talented bunch of people. You would have a lot of skills, a lot of talents, which basically is a lot of different channels for your healing energy to flow through. Now, with this healing card, and it says reconnecting with your true nature, you may or may not be aware of this. To whatever degree you know about your healing power, and at this point even your healing potential, because all of you can take the power that you do have and develop it even more, grow it even more to become even more powerful healers. And you really are intended to. However, and this really makes sense, there's a message here for you to understand, and that you know at a deep level, because there's so many different directions. Where do I go, Spirit? We're going to start with win or lose. This doesn't come without a cost. When I went to healing school, actually, sorry, I was training as a medium, and during that process, I realized that being a medium, and then for me being a healer, it's almost the same thing, was a lifestyle. It's not just something to do. It's something that affects everything about you, who you are, but also how you eat, how you sleep, how you work your energy on a daily basis so that you have that energy to spare for your work. It just requires a lot. And with win or lose here, this is talking about a sacrificial path, where in order to really harness and make the most out of your energy, there are things that you need to let go of in order to be able to really gain the maximum. But with reconnecting with your true nature and you're worth it, there's a message here that it's going to be truly worthwhile for you. And so there are maybe people that you're going to have to let go of, relationships, a job, an occupation, right? That is just not in alignment energetically, maybe a place where you live. There are things that you're going to have to let go of along the way in order to truly maximize your energy, but also to some extent to activate it. For it to really become healing energy, there has to be this process of letting go of things that get in the way of the flow of your energy. And Take Flight is kind of talking about this. It's a card that talks about standing up, not being small, not dimming your light or neglecting your colors or your talents. There is a message here that talks about you knowing what you're headed towards and choosing to move towards it. And it's a win or lose proposition, meaning you can't be a healer and attend cocaine fueled parties every weekend, for example. They are not on the same trajectory. It's not the same path. Now, that was an extreme example, but maybe you can't develop your healing talents if you're in a relationship where your partner is afraid of those talents and doesn't want you to express it. So there are all of these different dynamics that you have to take into consideration to truly arrive at the truth of who you are. Now, again, so many different directions. Where do I go? We go to confusion. This is highly confusing for you, because one of the things that's going to happen is that you're not going to have a lot of feedback in the world to validate this. So that you might look at that same relationship and everyone would say, why would you want to end that relationship? It's perfect. They are this, they are that, and have a whole list of reasons why. But it won't include you developing your healing gifts, and yet that's where you're headed. That's your true nature. That's what your energy wants to be and live in this world. So you are on a path, Spirit is saying, that is prone for confusion, riddled with confusion, that is, almost like de facto, because of the world that we're living in and how it currently functions. Your path will naturally be confusing because you're just not going to have a lot of feedback that allows you to know who you are. But therefore, your path also contains this moment and these moments over and over again of you stepping into your power and choosing to be the Lilith. And Lilith is the demonized self, right? The demonized individual. She's, for example, in one of the stories, it was that God made her as the first woman to marry Adam, and she had to subject herself to him, or to swear to be less than him and to obey him, kind of, right? Put herself at a lower position. Lilith was like, hell no, I'm not having that, and just refused, right? And so there's part of that you have to come into a space where you have to come into power, and you have to refuse anything that would make you less than who you truly are, anything that would dim your light, and especially anything that would dim the potential of your healing energy to flow into the world. Because at the end of the day, core to core, in the truth of who you are a healer. And that's what you want to do. That's your true nature. You want to guide people, places, things, situations, and circumstances towards greater wholeness, in ways that are in alignment with your true being, with your individuality, with this Lilith thing. So your gifts, your talents, your truths, your intentions, your passions, your drives, you want to do it in that way. But there is a message here that because of how the world functions, you will necessarily experience some degree of demonization around that, of being made wrong, of being made to be petty, selfish, naive, childish, whatever it is, right? It's their stuff. And so there is a path of you overcoming that, but also equally, Pleiadian star goddess, this is Aquarius energy. We're entering into the new age, and it's upside down because you are the embodiment of that new age in so many ways, and you are intended to move through that. The star is also about destined paths and the energy that guides us along those destined paths. So there's always going to be an energy inside of you that's saying, we're going towards this, we're going towards this, more healing for self, so that you can embody this healing, bring this healing in the world, so you can be the healer, right? And I always say we heal the self to heal with others, so that together we can heal the world. And there is that sequence. We have to start with healing the self. So you're always going to be called into this greater destiny, because again, that's who you are, and that's what your energy is, and that is what you're going to have to contend with. But again, it is going to be so worth it. And I'm being guided to tell you that when I started to go, when I was training as a medium, or even in healing school, or even when I would go on weekends in healing centers, those kinds of things, you meet other people who have the same kinds of experiences. Even here on YouTube or on the internet, you meet kindred souls, you meet your soul family, you end up serving your function where you need to be, doing what you need to be doing. You end up there. And yeah, it makes a bit of noise. It shakes things up. There's going to be things, obstacles in the way. Well, that's just a part of it. And it's not personal. It's the way that the world works. And so your task, in a very specific kind of sense, is this energy of the Justice card, where you have the King of the Underworld who's getting ready to judge a soul. And it's very much about you judging where you want to put your energy, where you want to put your truth, where you want to put your reality. Do you want to place your reality at the level of doing everything else, everything that other people tell you to do or think is good to do, so that you can get along and you're not going to be demonized and you're not going to go on this harder path? Or is the soul inside of you, with all of those cycles of growth and evolution, going to win out and outweigh all of the obstacles, all of the difficulties, all of the pain, all of the alienation, also all of the loneliness, maybe even challenges? Absolutely, certainly. Not always, not forever. It will be worth it in the end, because you yourself are worth it. It's you that you are reclaiming. It's you that you're moving towards, the real you, and the experience that that real you is going to have on this planet, in this world, that is going to be so completely different than a smaller experience of essentially being oppressed in your nature, right? And so there's a judgment here. There's a profound judgment. And at the end of the day, it's a judgment that you make within yourself, in your soul, about who you are and the life that you're going to lead. And that judgment, Spirit says, opens all the doors, and it makes all the difference. We have here the Two of Swords, and this Two of Swords is a funeral pyre in India. So this would be when you light the casket after someone has passed away. And there's this message of death and rebirth. And when I was reading the description, it was talking about, I actually left it open so I could read it to you. And it said specifically, The funeral pyre allows the spirit of the deceased to be purified and conducted towards a mystical ascension. The balance of I'm sorry, it's hard to read in this state. The balance of opposite forces, life and death, that combine to regenerate in each other. This is exactly it. There is something you have to let go of. You have to lose something so that you can win everything. And fundamentally, that everything is yourself, is your true self, and the life that that true self is going to have in the world. And it was talking about mystical ascension. There's a path here, ascension into the right choice, into the right perspective that is just, that is in alignment also with the greater karmic dynamics, with the laws of the universe. Because in your soul, you are who you are. You have a function to perform. You have a destiny to live out. And so it's really about a process that is quite inevitable in nature, but also just, again, ascending, taking you out of everything that's low, everything that would keep you from being yourself and living out that destiny. It's about ascending out of it, burning it over and over again. And as you burn it, you give it another life. It's like this alchemical thing. You burn the wood, but you get the smoke. It ascends. It takes on a higher level, a higher form. And this is also the process for you. And so this is what Spirit is saying. Every time you let go of something that is keeping you from your true self, out of alignment with your true self, what you're going to do is liberate your energy to take on a higher form. And in that higher form is like, oh. That's literally how it felt. It just feels so good. It feels so natural. You are at home. This is my home stone. You are at home in yourself. This is my authenticity stone. And this is my personal power stone, all chosen intuitively. And boy, do they all come together, especially in your reading. The power to be yourself, to be at home in yourself, and to make yourself at home in the world. For some of you, there's a specific message about your home in the world is where your true self will be. It's where your true self would choose to be. It's where your true self has healing work to do, and so on and so forth. So finally, we have here, I love this. I love this. The Tower card, which represents a volcano erupting and burning down Pompeii. And this is Spirit saying, listen, no pressure at all. But the world is burning. And there's a lot of darkness, and there's a lot of pain, and there's a lot of disasters that are unfolding on this planet at this time. And there is a huge, huge need for healers, and all of the healers who can heal themselves, go through their path, go through their process, and show up to do what they want to. It's not even you doing what Spirit wants you to do. It's what you really want to do in the core of your being. You may just not know how. You may not know the path. But Spirit just wanted to let you know at the end. Again, you're not to become a healer so you can fix things or save the world. You become a healer because that's who you are. But by the way, there is an incredible, incredible need for you. And so everything that you are going to be willing to say, to share, to put out into the world is going to get scooped up. It is going to be received with so much gratitude, so much joy, so much love. I'm feeling so touched, so much relief also, because you're going to bring that relief. And why? Because you're the real deal. You are the heavy hitters, the bread getters, the real fly, unforgettable soul healers. So my love, that was your reading. And I do have a takeaway here for you on the side, which says power over 7 scorpions. Yes, you're being initiated into the magic of conjuring so as to have power to affect lower vibrational forces through your own will and spoken word. You are guided to use this powerful gift with compassion and discernment, with mercy and non-judgment. You can then manage any toxicity in your life swiftly and with great effect. And again, I would say in the world. And that's really this message. You need to heal yourself because you're incredibly powerful. And you have to make sure that you're wielding this power with discernment, with wisdom, with kindness, with generosity, with love. And that's why the path is the way that it is. But you would not have it any other way, because in your soul, that is who you are, and you understand this at a deep, profound level. And it's also your path to remember that you understand, that you know this, that you value it, and that you yourself would not have it any other way. I'm being guided to tell you how I once had an initiation, and that initiation spirit was telling me about the power to change the ecosystem, like to change climate, for example, to make it rain, make it not rain. And so it was towards the end of the initiation, and I was like, but why would anybody want to do that? If you understand how it actually works, you would never want to. And Spirit says yes. And that's the whole path. When you're a healer, you go through paths of surrender where you're granted power. And when you're granted power, you only want to use it in the true way. And you're granted that power because that's only how you want to use it, if that makes sense, right? You don't want to disturb the entire climate, the birds and the bees and the plants and the seasons of harvest, because you don't want to get wet today, right? You wouldn't do that as a healer. And again, it's that same kind of wisdom that you can apply in your own life. There are choices that you have made because you're a healer, and they're the choices that serve your healing path. And you may not understand it now, but it's in the nature of the path for you to grow into that understanding as you become more and more of yourself, so that it's not a hard path, it's not a difficult path. And at the end of the day, when you are where you were, it's completely worth it, and you would never choose any other path, because that is who you are. So definitely that was the message. Sending you lots of love, wishing you all the best. If you would like to know more about the process, check it out in the description box on the main page. And I hope to see you here for more. Lots of love, wishing you all the best, and I'll be seeing you around. Bye, love. Hi, love. Hello, and welcome to those of you who chose the third option, which is this mini angel, which I call that because it's mini me. And so I chose the angels because we're talking about who you really are, our energy being, and so the angels represent that divinity. And so you are someone who is like a mini divine being. I'm being shown like a mini sun. And we do have the dove here. So there's Christ energy here, where you are embodying a very Christed energy at the level of your soul, a very high vibrational energy. So this could be something, if you identify with being a starseed, also really take it as resonates, because we all understand it in different ways. But there's definitely a message here of who you are. We even have 2 11s, mastery of higher self connection, of higher energy, of the transcendent journey. Also, that's what I'm getting from the 11. Then we have this ideal course of action. So who you are, yeah, you're a miniature divinity, but you're someone who's intended to realize that in this life. And again, call it what you want, enlightenment, illumination, transfiguration, really however you want. But there's a message here that you are intended to come into a space and a place where, again, Christic energy, you're intended to live in the world but not of it. You're intended to detach from the spiritual poverty, the spiritual limitations of this world I didn't even realize, and set the spirit free. And then your spiritual energy is going to rise above. And wow, the synchronicities. We have 11, 11, and dove on both. But here is a dove that is let loose. And here is a dove that is just living in its natural environment. And the dove representing the spirit and your spiritual energy. So in a very basic kind of way, you would be someone who needs to be in your own energy. And you need to live in a way where your own energy is leading the way. So for me, there's this acronym of the self, where its spiritual energy lives freely. You are someone in yourself where you need your spiritual energy to be living freely, to be creating freely. And that is the ideal course of action for you. And when you're living in that way, you become very big. You become very large. It's like like in anime or cartoons where you just transform, reach your final form, and boom, you're large, you're big, you have big energy. You also have big vision, clear vision, big dreams, big hands, because she's bigger, so the ability to also make those dreams come true. But simplicity is a card that talks about radical self-care. So in order to reach that, you are someone who's going to have to walk a path of radical self-care. You're going to have to shun, that's the word coming in, shun certain people, places, things in your life. Walk away, step away, go in a different direction, but definitely prioritize yourself radically. For some of you, this is through health concerns. You're going to have to really take care of yourself because because of your health will require it. I'm not prophesizing that you're going to have health issues in the future. This is much more about it being linked. There's some kind of link between your own well-being, your own health. So again, mental health, emotional health, physical health, where you're going to have to choose. You either do what's good for you or you suffer from it, you go under. And that makes sense when we're talking about being in your own energy, because if you don't have that kind of mental space, that kind of mental leeway, that kind of also ability for your energy to flow freely, then you are gonna suffer from it from some level. And at some point in your life, you're gonna be called into radical self-care and into making radical changes so that you can really set your spirit free, set your energy free, and allow yourself to lead your life in the best way possible. And again, it's the ideal course of action for you. For some of you, this could be quitting a job and starting your own business where you can have a lot more freeway, a lot more leeway, a lot more say-so in how your daily life unfolds. And that's going to be the ideal course of action for you. For some of you, it's to get married or not to get married, to have children or not to have children. It's really about figuring out what is the true expression of your being, what is going to make your heart beat, what is going to make you feel alive, which is when we are really connected to that spiritual energy, embodying it and living it out, what's going to get your fire going, your creativity flowing and going with that, and really understanding that that kind of flow is self-expressive. It's an expression of who you are. It's about being who you really are. You're not frivolous. You're not pointless. Yeah, illusions. There's a lot that the world tells us. And Ten of Swords for me is so much about other people's energy and the world and what's wrong with the world and those whole kind of stupidity mindsets and conditioning. Yeah, conditioning. There you go. And there's a conditioning here that who you are and how your energy naturally is difficult to uphold in the world. I'm too sensitive for this world. I'm too empathic for this world. Being an empath means I have to be overwhelmed by other people's emotions. Being who I am means that I have to work extra hard at thriving in the world and so on and so forth. It doesn't really matter what it is specifically, but there's just a pain myth here. Exactly. It's a pain myth, which is what I call those stories we tell ourselves or also inherit through culture about how certain things are hard and difficult. And it would be like childbirth has to be painful, or what we're getting a lot these days with pain myths around parenting. It's so horrible. It's so difficult. It's so hard. Being a parent is hard. It's hard. How many times do you hear that? It's those kinds of things. And you will have inherited, believed, developed some pain myths around your true self, your energy being, and how to live that out in the world. But with the Ace of Swords here upside down, you, my love, I might be helping you in that direction, but I feel like this is above and beyond this reading. You are destined to have a kind of realization that is going to hit you. And I'm seeing it like it hits you in your third eye. Boom, your head snaps back. And you just realize it, you see it. Again, we were talking about awakening and enlightenment and those kinds of energies. And there's you getting that realization, that clarity, stepping out of the bleakness of what you thought your life is going to be. But even also the bleakness at the core of it, it's like a bleak view of your own energetic being, your own spiritual nature, stepping out of that and staying in that. Because for me, the Ace of Swords is also obey clarity. It's when we've had the realization, we have the clarity, and we can only obey it. We can never go back, because you can't unknow something. When you know it, you know it. And so there is a point where you come to the realization, oh, I'm not the problem. My energy is not the problem. My empathic abilities are not the problem. My sensitivity is not the problem. And you go about setting up a whole different way of living that is going to be ideal for you. It's going to work for you. Also, Simplicity is talking about how a lot of the pain comes from bending over backwards to fit into a system of living that just doesn't suit you or your energy. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just not matching the way that other people live, the way that other people do life here on earth in the year 2023 and onwards, right? It's just oil and water. We're not in a world that really fundamentally is in alignment with the true nature and essence of spiritual energy. And so for people who are more than others, it's problematic to live in this world, but we can learn to. There are ways. And so here we have 3 cards that want to speak to that. With this Page of Wands, there we go, Page of Wands, it talks about initiative. He who has initiative, and here, this is the hearth. And this is the card, I believe, in Shintoism of the god of hearth and home. And so this is about keeping a fire lit. And this is home. This is actually my home stone that I brought out for this reading. First time ever it's on the channel. And so this connects to that energy, right? This is personal power and this is authenticity. So all 3 are together in your reading, because this is talking about you taking the initiative to keep a fire burning, to gain a passion about where you are at home and making yourself at home in the world within that, right? So it's becoming passionate about what is authentically true for you, what suits you. For example, your energy benefits greatly from meditating every day. This would be a message. Find a meditation that works for you, get yourself at home in it, and make it at home in your life. Make it a part of your daily routine, and also represent in the world the importance of meditation for you, because also it could help other people. There's definitely that level that comes in, and it could be really for anything that serves you. If you benefit, your energy benefit, and the flow of your energy benefits from you napping every single afternoon, then figure out, right, how to nap. Where do I nap best? What position do I need to nap in? Get really acquainted into that. Pencil in a napping time and napping schedule for yourself. Don't marry anyone who doesn't want you to nap in the afternoon. Don't take a job that requires you not to nap in the afternoon. And then talk about the importance of napping in the world, and there really is one. It's those kinds of things. It's really those different levels, and it comes from a space of passion. When you realize how much it's going to work for you, you're going to become passionate about it. And that's why it's also upside down, because all of these 3 cards really are talking about how you're not seeing, or you're not going to see how much it's going to affect you. Things that you don't see coming. We have here 5 of Cups. Love this. I love this card in general. Love it here for you in this reading. We have here someone who's literally energy, right? Fire lit up, walking into water. And you have here someone who's going, and it represents actually a father and son in the original myth. But here for our purposes, yeah, we can put this as patriarchy, even as the system in general, right? Society, culture, saying, come here, come into the water. We like it here in the water. Come into the water, come live here. But you're being a fire. So being in the water just isn't as comfortable for you. It's not going to be as good for you at all. So 5 of Cups upside down talks about how you're going to learn that it's not personal, and it doesn't even need to be an attack on the patriarchy or the system. You don't have to burn down the system. You just have to realize that it doesn't work for you. You don't have to make it wrong. You don't have to get on a soapbox. You don't have to argue with your relatives every single Christmas about why you nap every single afternoon. It just doesn't work for you. And that's, that could be the whole conversation that just becomes, oh, it doesn't work for me. This worked for me. I love it. I'm not going to stop. Why would I? It works for me. That's it, right? It's that kind of energy. And I did keep it open in the booklet because I wanted to read it to you, because it says 5 of Cups, and it's a myth from Melanesia. The effective and physical detachment between Father, God of the sea, and Son, God of fire. The pain caused by giving up the life lived up to this point. Upside down, there will be no pain. There will be no pain in giving up something that doesn't work for you. And fundamentally, there's also a message here that, again, with this God energy, anyone who asks you to live in a way that doesn't work for you, that doesn't serve you, that isn't good for you, is not doing it from a place of love. And that's not something you want to listen to. So that's why we come back into the notion of patriarchy. There's nothing wrong with fathers and fatherhood. But patriarchy is not fatherhood, and it affects people, it affects cultures in a very specific way. And so it's that kind of thing. It's about recognizing what there is in culture, in systems. Yeah, putting things back in order. What is there in culture, in systems, in what you've learned and what you've believed and what you've agreed with also, that has brought you to a point where you ever sought to value something that doesn't work for you above and beyond what does work for you. And when you get it, you're never going to go back. You're never going to go back. You would never even think to. You would never even think to. And finally here, I love it so much. Oh, wow, that touched my heart. We have here the Strength card, Major Arcana number 11 in this deck. And this is, I believe, a general in the Roman Empire who's burning his arm because he has failed. And with the Strength card, this is coming through talking about how you're going to develop the spiritual strength to stop punishing yourself for being who you are. So in other words, that is what you are. You're just who you are. But from the perspective of others, you're different. You're defective. You're small. You're selfish. You're whatever labels they would use to interpret you. That's their world. That's their reality. That's their paradigm. They're welcome to it. This is you gaining the power to redo your own paradigm. Why would I burn myself? Why would I injure myself? Why would I go against my own highest good? Because you think that I have failed, because you think that I'm not good enough, because you have argument with the way in which I was divinely made. I am divinely made. And that can apply to so many different things, but it's a fundamental lesson that you are also going to reclaim in order to truly be able to lead the life that you want, need, and deserve to, because of who you are energetically, in your soul, in your spirit, in the truth of your being, in ways that no one can touch, let alone alter, and let alone tame. It's sacred. It really is sacred. And this is you reclaiming sacred space and learning to live it out in ways that really just serve you as they're supposed to, right? It serves you. Your life is for you. It can then benefit others. It can then bless others. And I guarantee you that it does bless others. Your presence here is blessing me right now. So I can guarantee that that is the case. But it doesn't exist for that purpose. You don't exist to make other people happy about their own perspective on life. And their own perspective of life tends not even to be that deep to the level where it touches soul and spirit. So why should it have precedence over yours, right? You will find God, your God, your divine energy, the unconditionally loving energy that guides you is along this path, not along the pain myths and understandings outside of yourself. So that's the message that came through straightforward. And for some of you, it's very specific. Again, enlightenment, awakening, finding God. And maybe you've been wondering and looking. And so there came your answer. So my love, this is takeaway for you in this reading. We've got Queen of Heaven. And it says, the Queen of Heaven, the Divine Empress of the Skies, acknowledges your feminine authority now as a man or a woman. And of course, as a person, you have a life path of spiritual leadership to bring qualities of mercy, compassion, and wisdom into the world. Exactly. You have a life path of spiritual leadership, of spiritual power to grow into. And you're going to use it to do beautiful things, amazing things. But it comes from a space of owning yourself first, of doing it for yourself first. Help yourself, and then you will naturally, Spirit says, you will help very, very many, even just by embodying it, but also by working it consciously. So my love, that was the message that I have for you here and now. I hope that it served you. So happy to have delivered it. Sending you lots of love, wishing you all the best. And if you would like to know more about the process in general, check out the main page, the description box. It is all there. Sending you lots of love, and I will be here for other readings and videos. So I hope to see you there. Bye.